This video is for section 3.4. Today we're going to talk about solving log and exponential equations. Last time you did some simple log solving and exponential solving. So this is a little bit of a review. Remember, first we have to get the b part, or the part raised to the exponent by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by 20. And I end up with 1/2 to the x over 3 equals 1/4. Now, because the x is in the exponent part, I need to get it out of there. So I have to take the log of both sides, and I change it to a log. When I change this to a log, I get log base 1/2 of 1/4 equals x divided by 3. From here, I'm going to multiply both sides by 3 to get x by itself. And then I'm going to type this whole thing, 3 log base 1/2 of 1/4 equals x, into my calculator. When I do that, it's going to give me a decimal value. In this case, it actually gave me a whole number value of 6. So x equals 6 is my answer. Remember, when solving exponentials, you will have to change it to a log in order to get x out of the exponent part. Next, we have a log example. In this case, we have to change the log to an exponent in order to get x out of the log. Remember, if it's just a common log, we say its base is 10. So I have 10 to the second equals x squared. Well, 10 to the second is 100 equals x squared. When I undo x squared, I take the square root of both sides, and we find out that x equals plus or minus 10, because 10 squared will give us 100 and negative 10 squared will give us 100. Keep in mind, you could potentially have extraneous solutions. So if I plug them back in, if I plug 10 in, 10 squared is 100, which is a positive. If I plug negative 10 in, negative 10 squared is 100, which is also positive. Therefore, I can take the log of it. Make sure you remember that you cannot take the log of a negative. Just like you can't take the log, or just like you can't take the square root of a negative. Let's try the next example. Please practice this example using Educanon. Pick your correct answer before you move on in the video. Now we're going to take a look at what do we do with e in the natural log in order to solve these equations. We treat e just like we treat all of our normal exponentials. So first, we're going to subtract 3 from both sides to get the exponential part by itself. So I end up with 2e to the negative x equals 3. Divide both sides by 2, and I have e to the negative x equals 3/2. This is where things get a little different. Normally, what you would do is you would change this to a log. But we don't really change e to a log. We take the natural log of both sides. And when we do that, it gets rid of the e part and brings the negative x down. So I have negative x equals the natural log of 3/2. Well, having negative x is like having a negative 1. So I divide both sides by negative 1. I get x equals negative natural log of 3/2. Type that in your calculator, and you're going to get negative 0.405. I ask that you give the next 3 decimal places on all of your answers. So anytime we have e, we need to take the natural log of both sides in order to get the x part out of the exponential. Let's try this one. Add 3 to both sides. I get e to the 4x equals 15. Now I'm going to take the natural log of both sides. And so I end up with 4x Hello. Hey, I didn't know if it was easier. I end up with 4x equals the natural log of 15. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I get x equals 0.169. Those are how we solve for e. Our next example is going to talk about how do I solve a natural log equation. Now, normally, we would change the log to an exponent, but because it's the natural log, we have to raise all sides to e to that power. So we have e to the natural log of x minus 4 equals e squared. What happens here is these cancel out, and it leaves me with x minus 4 equals e squared. Add 4 to both sides, and I get x equals e squared plus 4. Go ahead and enter that in your calculator, and I'm going to get 11.389. So to do e in the natural log, we have to use them in each case. Remember, e is our exponential part. So we raise both sides to we use e and raise each side into the exponential part. So in this example, very similarly, e natural log x squared equals e to the 4th. I'm going to cancel these, and I end up with x squared equals e to the 4th. If I square root both sides, I get x equals plus or minus e squared, which would be 7.389 and negative 7.389. Here are two examples, an e and a natural log equation. Please answer the two questions in Educanon. Now that we've answered the questions, I will show you the worked out version. Here is each problem worked out so you can check your answers. Now we're going to take it another step further. I'm going to take a look at when we have to combine logs. You learned log properties last time in class. So the first thing we have to do is get to the point where we only have one log. We know that minus means divide. We also know that a 2 out front becomes the exponent of that value. So I end up with the log of x squared minus log 4 equals 2. And now I'm going to combine these and get rid of the minus sign, so I only have one log. So the log of x squared divided by 4 equals 2. From this point, I can do my normal solving. So I am going to change this to an exponential. So 10 squared equals x squared over 4. Multiply both sides by 4. Those going to cancel, and I end up with 400 equals x squared. If I square root both sides, I get x equals plus or minus 20. And I know that x can only equal positive 20. The reason I know that I can't have that negative part is because I can't take the log of a negative. And if I plug negative 20 in for x, I get an extraneous solution. So x equals 20 is my only answer. Next, I have this guy. Here, I want to combine my logs first. With the plus sign, that means multiply. So I have log base 2 of x minus 3 times x plus 3 equals 4. I can change to an exponent, so I have 2 to the 4th equals x minus 3 times x plus 3. Now I need to distribute, so I can start getting x by itself. And on the right hand side I'm going to end up with x squared minus 9. On the left I end up with 16. And now I'm back to solving my x squared equation. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And I get x squared equals 25. Well, in order to undo my square, I square root. And I get x equals plus or minus 5. If I put 5 in, on the left I get 2, and on the right I get 8. So 5 will work. If I put negative 5 in, on the left I'm going to get a negative answer. So negative 5 is an extraneous solution. So my answer is x equals 5. Final solution. Give you a chance now to do your own example. Answer the question in Educated. Here is the worked out answer. Here you can check your work in case you got the answer incorrect. When you're finished checking your work, please go to eChalk and do worksheet 3.4.